Welcome and thank you. So, the Trio Protocol speaks about Moses' principle, and generally, if you look at the Trio Protocol, you'll see here ribosome activities are in the evening, meaning evening into the night when you get to sleep. So, you start focusing on ribosome. The sun is going down, mitochondria's activity is becoming low, low, low. Therefore, we are advised to stay away from glucose in the evening based upon Moses' principle. So what Moses' principle says, if you are a follower of scriptural text from Bible, you would be able to find a story in Exodus chapter 16 that speaks about Moses' principle. You could read it for yourself. Thank you so much. But Moses' principle basically is saying you eat your bread, and bread is a plant-based product. And if you would think about it, bread would have been one of those multi-grain bread more than likely in those days. So it's the source, it's a plant. Plants are the source of glucose. So when you read the scriptural text, you start understanding Moses is saying you have the source of glucose in the time of activity when the mitochondria are active. And that is when the sun is up, because the sun would give you the red light that will stimulate mitochondria. I'll make a whole video on red light therapy and why it is effective for insulin resistant type people who has high glucose levels in their blood. So generally in the day when the sun is up, you are physically active. That is when you are targeting the mitochondria. So your thinking should be mitochondria. Now this should not be the start. When you read Moses' protocol, it starts by saying eat your meat in the evening, because when you put that source of amino acid, fatty acids, vitamins and minerals in the mouth in the evening, that's the last meal of the day, which should be, think about yourself, if your acidic stomach is on point, which should be pH 1 or 2, when you have fats and protein from meats in your stomach, it should go down to about 1 and then go between 1 to 2.5. Very acidic, should be there for about 2 to 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours in some people's cases, to ensure that it soaks the meat and the long chains of polypeptides uncoil them, so that pepsin could wake up and then pepsin would cut that long chain into shorter chains, get dipeptides, tripeptides, some other type of peptide, maybe hexpeptide, that's 5 amino acids on one chain. And then also the intrinsic factor would wake up, and the intrinsic factor would say, hey, here is some available B12 minerals, and they would cut out the B12 or uncleave it from the meat. All this has to happen in the very pH 1 and 2 stomach. That's why the stomach should be called the acidic stomach. It's a very core principle. What else wakes up? Now, a number of other activities, maybe enzymatic or whatever activities takes place to extract from the bones, the meat, the different components of these things, something called the minerals. So you might be taking a lot of minerals and not be getting anything much because your stomach is not acidic enough, but that's a topic for a different day. However, when you have to think about getting the stomach acidic, the presence of fat holds or causes the stomach to release and release proper amount of hydrochloric acid from its functioning parts. So having this knowledge means that Moses is telling us have our meat by itself, not meat with a little rice or meat with a little this or no, not none of that. Have your steak by itself or steak with an egg. Have your egg and your meat. Have your egg and this. Have your fish by itself. Have this, and make sure that you have enough. Eat 3-4 hours before you go to sleep, so that at least 4 hours in the stomach you have things well digested in the acidic stomach. So when it's well digested, the next step is to move it from the acidic stomach down into the pyloric splinter, out into the duodenum, and then down into the small intestine after the gallbladder sends on bile and the pancreatic juice come. So you have a nice slow process of supply of amino acids from the gut because of this wonderful stomach acidity. That takes a few hours in the 20 feet of small intestine, moving down, and you have absorption of the amino acids, fatty acids, minerals going into the bloodstream. Some fatty acids goes to the lymph. We get that into the bloodstream. Liver takes care of all that, and then things are going to head to the cells in the night. Things are heading to the cells in the night. Okay, so let's just look at that. They are heading to the cells. So here in this diagram, the acidic stomach worked. The small intestine is now bringing all the minerals, all the amino acids, their molecules. So you don't eat chicken to get chicken going up into your liver or into the portal vein. You get amino acids. Nobody knows when it reach up here. Well, oh, this one came from chicken. This one came from, no, it's an amino acid. Let's get real. And this comes to the liver, and then it makes its way in the same copper pipe, which is called the bloodstream, all the way back to the cells. That's the same process in the day. The difference in the day is glucose is on the copper pipe, or glucose is the most abundant thing on the copper pipe, trying to get to the cells, because this would have been replaced with mitochondria, but it's nighttime, moon time, and so it's amino acids that are trying to get into the cells. Organs have cells, and cells have ribosomes in the night, which eats the no, well, not eats, but takes in the amino acid, fatty acid, minerals, and spits out protein. Proteins for the cells itself, for the organ, and then proteins that goes back into the blood for other functions and other organ places in the body. We are told not to have the glucose floating in the blood in the night for several reasons, but one of the key reasons Moses would have said that is not because he doesn't want you to eat bread in the night or rice, or no, because he knows that when the protein comes back out into the blood here and you have glucose in the night floating around here, and glucose cannot get into the cells in the night, because who to eat glucose in the night is at sleep. That's the mitochondria. So glucose is now filling the pipeline, the copper line, by itself, and when a new protein comes out, the glucose creates a sticky issue for that protein. It jumps on the protein back, and then it calls its friend, and they jump on the protein back, and you look at Frankenstein monster at this point in time, gooey, liquidy, running glucose on the protein. Now the protein is now malformed, can't even function anymore as a protein. But of course we will blame the protein, because when it reached the kidney, we would find protein stuck in the kidney, not knowing that the Frankenstein monster only got to the kidney because it looks like something that should be expelled, is all because of our overconsumption of glucose in the night, specifically when it is not needed. Well, in the day too, but in the night. So here in the Moses protocol, so Moses has simply told us, have the meats by itself in the evening. We could all practice that. You have to try to yourself and then ask yourself, where were you for the last X amount of years? This is the principle. This is the Moses protocol. This is a copy of it here. It's not really a clear copy, because you have to purchase a copy. If you download it, still would contact me to purchase a copy for $6. Your donations are welcome. These are the three. Notice I have three and I have trio. The three that works together. The branch that works together. Three things. Here we would have speak about what happens in the night, the evening time. You need to supply. The body got stimulated in the day, and what causes stimulation? You the conscious being, went about arguing, fighting, jumping, living life and doing what you want. Everything you're doing is a form of stimulation on this body. When the body gets into the state of rest, it is saying, hey, I need to get amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins and minerals. I am now in the state of rest. Mitochondria is at rest. Ribosomes take over. They are now spinning out proteins, your healing compounds. This is a simple way for simple people who are trying to get an idea of what to do. Thank you so much for viewing. I'm available for questions. See the link in my bio to purchase a copy of the protocol, or here is my email. You would be able to reach me there. Thank you so much.